How we doing? Welcome back to Taekwondo Bro. This is Kyosin Amar. Today we're doing a very interesting video, which is a discussion video of the differences between karate, taekwondo. What are the differences? What's better? What's worse? Let's find out. So I'm going to go through the basics before I just drop an answer on you, because you're not going to understand it if you don't really know the systems, and a lot of you haven't done both. So I'm going to start with taekwondo. So taekwondo is from Korea. It's mainly kicking, but it's called the art of the hand and the foot, so it's like kicking, punching, some grappling, not a lot. Karate is the art of the open hand. It's from Okinawa. Same thing, punching, kicking, some grappling, not that much, but very similar. The uniforms look almost the same. The Taekwondo dobuk doesn't cross over like that. It just looks like this. In karate, it crosses over into the gi. You'll see the gi a lot. And they wear a belt, obviously. You've seen that before. The techniques are pretty much the same. I've seen them both. There's very few moves you'll see in one and not the other. What's different is how they use them and then the combinations they put them in. But in terms of all the blocks, kicks, and punches, they're pretty much the same. There are certain sweeps and takedowns that you only see, at least in karate and judo type stuff, you wouldn't see them in taekwondo. But for the most part, they're pretty similar. In terms of sparring, the thing you all want to hear about is the rules are important here. In taekwondo and sparring, you can punch to the body, but not to the face, which I've said it before, I don't like that rule very much. I think they should get rid of it, but it doesn't ruin it. Don't get me wrong, it's just a problem I have with it. You can kick to the body and kick to the head. So you have a lot of developed kicking. You can't sweep, and you can't grab the foot and do a takedown. And that's juxtaposed with karate, where you can punch to the head and the body. You can kick to the head and the body, and then you can do takedowns, but there is no grappling. So once you take down, you have I think 3 seconds or so, maybe five to punch, and then you just get up. So there is no actual grappling, it's just some sweeps. Now, these rules are pretty good, and this is part of the reason why taekwondo kicks better than karate. It's because in sparring, you rely so much more on the kicks, because you can't grab and you can't punch to the head. So your main offensive weapon is going to be body kicks and head kicks because of the range. So you're going to have very accurate and strong kicks in taekwondo. And I'm not saying that people who do karate can't kick. Not at all. I'm just saying that if you look at the groups on average, taekwondo is going to kick better. Now, this is countered by the fact that karate can sweep better. They can punch to the head better. They got better blocks to the head. So if you try to get punched in the head, and you do karate, you're going to be more used to it, so you'll be better. I'm not saying you can't block the head in taekwondo. I'm just saying the more you practice it, the better you get. So that's the differences in sparring, and this is why you have the different strengths of the arts. It's because of how the system works. Now, in terms of training the techniques, they're very similar. At a basic level, you'll do a lot of in-air work where you'll see the whole class organized. The instructor will tell them what to do, so they'll get in their stance. They'll go punch, punch, block, whatever the hell the combination is. They'll do it in the air. Sometimes they march forward. Sometimes they stay in their place. That's really easy to learn, really easy to teach a whole bunch of people and get a good workout going. But you are going to need some application work on that stuff. So that's where the pads come in. Usually you need to hit something. So you'll have smaller pads, which are one-handed. They're usually called the hand targets. They could be like that, or they could be the pork chop type pads. You'll have the shields, big shield. You can kick it, you punch it, and knee it. You'll have punching bags that hang from the roof on chains, just like a boxing place. You'll have Wave Masters, where it's a punching bag, but it's on pedestal. So it's like the same thing pretty much. So the equipment is pretty much the same. Maybe the brand is different, but that's it. Now, the belts, again, very similar, very related. Usually there's going to be 10 or so, 10 belts. You start at white belt, you get to some color belts. It's different for each system, but the important part is just the number of them. Once you get to black belt, there's usually a really important test at black belt. So in my first Taekwondo dojang, we had something called the packet and then Hell Week. So the packet had a lot of reading material, but it was also an exercise plan. So you had to do the exercises, which were usually about 60 or 62 push-ups, sit-ups. Everything was the same number, but there was a lot of exercises. You had to do them. And then after that 3-month period, you were ready for Hell Week. Hell Week was 1 week of intense physical training. You would show up, run, I believe it was 5 kilometers. You'd come back, You do 250 push-ups, 250 of all the things you did in the packet, and then you'd spar the adults who were there. So the adult class would spar everyone. If you were an adult, you just had to spar them again. And then you'd come back the next day, and then the push-ups and everything was down to 200, and then it was down to 150, but the running stayed the same. And then once you got to the 150 day, they gave you 1 day off, and then it was your black belt test. Now the black belt test was you demonstrate your basics, you demonstrate your forms, or your pumse, whatever you want to call them, your self-defenses, you'd spar, and then they'd usually do some type of board break to kind of show how good you were at a certain technique. And that was it. And if you did good, you passed. If not, try again next time. Very similar thing in the karate, where they gave out a packet, but it really didn't contain the workouts that the other one did. They had a black belt training class, so it was on Saturdays. It was 2 hours. They did all their training there for a certain amount of months, and then they did their test. And the test was pretty much the same. You show the basics, you show your self-defense, you show your sparring, you show your board breaks, you show everything. But they had a physical test on the same day, so for us it was before, and for them it's the same day, so you just had to pass it. Then it was just part of the test. The place I'm going to now is Taekwondo. I'm not sure exactly what they do for their black belts, but I'm sure it's pretty similar. So that's that. Let's talk about self-defenses. So self-defenses are the grappling part of Taekwondo and karate. So these arts do have grappling parts in them. It's just not typically included in their sparring. So you'll have takedowns, hip throws, lockups, submissions, triangle chokes. You do find that in Taekwondo. It's just not allowed in sparring. So you do practice it. So, I'm not the best at it because I don't do it like full time, but I can do them. I can demonstrate them and stuff. And I can pull them off sometimes, No one's perfect. But yeah, you get pretty good at them, but I'd say they should probably include some type of way to test them, like pressure testing, but it's the same way in both karate and Taekwondo. You have these little pre-organized things. Now, of course, it's not easy, because if they do the punch and you don't block it, you're still getting punched. But your opponent usually will just stiff arm you, so they'll do the punch and they'll just stand there, usually, not always. And then you have to take them down. And they won't make it easy, but they're not going to start sparring you, because this isn't sparring. So it's a pretty good way to just get a lot of techniques down. I think they need to test them sometimes. But again, depends on what's going on. Board breaks, present in both of them. So you get the board. It's a demonstration of, it's a demo. It's not training. So, you do it to train sometimes. But you're not going to sit there and train on the board to make your kicks better. You get good kicks from different stuff. And then you will train to break the boards because it's hard. And then you can do it at a fair or for a test or for some type of demonstration. That's that. Same in both of them. Uniforms are pretty similar, as I said. The belts, very similar. Once you get to the first degree, you have second degree, third degree. The language is different, but it's the same stuff. Teaching style is very similar. So again, my main difference between them is in the rules of sparring, which skews what skills you get better at. Taekwondo, in my opinion, better kicks, not as good on the hands, not as good on the grappling, just because that's how the sparring works. The karate, not quite as good in the kicks, but I'd say they're more well-rounded in some aspects. In some aspects they aren't, but it really depends on the person training. So if you're going to ask me who's going to win in the fight, my answer is always whoever trains the best, trains the hardest, is the most fit, is the most experienced. Now, if you're going to put two level-headed people together, it's going to depend on the rules. So if you put them in the Taekwondo tournament, obviously Taekwondo is going to win. Put them in the karate tournament, hate to break it to you, karate guy is going to win. Now, what would happen if you put them in like an MMA cage? I'm not quite sure. There's tons of those videos online where you can see Taekwondo versus karate in different types of sparring matches. So if you want to see that, I recommend you watch a couple of those. You can watch a couple of my sparring videos too to see how it works, because me and my brother have done both, and we both have sparring videos on this channel, so you can see kind of a hybrid mix of us on the channel. But if you want to see pure style versus style, I recommend going to check out some of those Infinite YouTube fight videos. And I hope you enjoyed the breakdown, because I've trained both of them, and I want to bring that experience to everyone so they really know what's going on, because sometimes you only train one and you don't see what's on the other side. So again, I like them both. They're very fun, really great exercise. You do have specific advantages. So if you're looking to get extremely good at punching, go for boxing, because that's what they do best. But if you're going for kicks, do Taekwondo. If you want that traditional type thing, the Karate Kid moment, do karate. If you want, you could switch them. No one says you got to pick one for life. But anyway, I hope you had fun. I hope I broke it down well. If you have any questions, type them in the comments. I'll type back too. I'll answer them all, hopefully. I will though, don't worry. Anyway, so hope you guys are training at home, having fun. You can watch a couple of my training videos if you want to get out, get fit. Just keep it calm till well and back up. See you guys next time.